Hello, everybody. We're live. I usually say that the other way. Oh no, I did it backwards this time. See, my problem was I was too prepared, and I just derailed right off the start. Uh, anyways, yeah, yeah. The thumbnail is an AI interpretation of me, apparently, or something like that. Uh, yeah, Exit is here, but she's currently taking care of a dog, but she'll be back in a moment. And hopefully Constantine will come too in a minute, because that I want him to talk about his fundraiser, because his fundraiser has been remarkably successful, and it's pretty happy. I should send out a tweet. I'm gonna send out a tweet. I
It's
didn't
a
do that.
great show.
Yeah, and we have boat news.
We have boat. Wait, do we have boat news? I'm just kidding. I was totally waiting for you to ask me that, and I was gonna be like, "Nah, there's no boat news." But I'm like so excited about it, I can't even pretend to be a dipshit. So that doesn't work.
Yeah. So
It's very
yeah, the people are talking about the image today, the thumbnail image. Um, it's an AI depiction of me, made by Ireland.
Is it? I didn't know that. That's very funny.
I think like
I,
the words he gave the AI were like um Italian American, like too many monitors and like Ukraine colors. And this is what came out. And it actually looks a lot like me. That's like all you need to know.
the
That's it.
the AI knows you. The AI is like, "Oh, I know that guy."
Yeah. Yeah, and then I put my map on it. There's more AI images. I could show you another one. I'm going to use them as thumbnails whenever I don't have time to make a thumbnail. Here's another one. Uh, the zoom out because oh boy. Here's another one. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. So, anyways, which do you want to talk about boat news?
I would love to talk about boat news. Um, so it's been really great sailing weather in the Black Sea this week. Like impressively amazing sailing weather in the Black Sea this week, which is totally great. Uh, it's totally great because obviously that means that ships going in and out of the Ukrainian corridor have great sailing. So that's great. It's also great because it means that USVs might have like a really easy time traveling a very far distance.
Oh
And it
yeah.
turns out last night that happened. And so if you, I think I just retweeted, uh, there is a location that I have seen two different groups put, well, one of them published and the other one did not publish, but I have insider information saying where they believe the Kotov sank. It is not north of the Kerch Bridge. It is south of the Kerch Bridge. If you go to my Twitter account, you will see me tweeting it. Obviously, Andrew has the lovely little icon there pointing. Why don't we have like a ship icon?
There
We need a
is.
ship icon.
I didn't put it there. I mean, I can if you just keep talking, and I'll make it a ship icon.
Can't even believe this. Crazy. Anyways, so they published the first reports came out kind of at about 1:30 a.m. my time. So I'm in Alberta, Canada. So that would be mountain time. So about 3:30 Eastern, or like New York time, if you're somewhere around there. Anyways, first reports then that we had seen all night that there was some kind of an attack kind of going on around Crimea, but there didn't seem to be any real details about it. And to be honest, we hear fairly often lately that there are UAV attacks and other such things happening in Crimea. And so I had said to a lot of people, hey, let's wait for a battle damage assessment before we do anything, because we hear a lot and we don't always see something. The last one we saw was a couple days ago. The oil refinery at Fedosia had been hit, and there was some damage to the oil refinery, but it wasn't as extensive as people maybe were hoping for. Hey, look. And so waited and waited, and I think just before I got up, so that would have been like 4 hours later, there was a video put out by, am I going to get this right? GUR? HUR? Not GRU. Which one?
I think it's, yes. I get them. I always get them confused. Please don't. I am dyslexic. It's not fair.
Totally. I get this. I think it's GUR. Anyways, Ukrainian intelligence. They put out a video from the USVs showing the strikes. You can see at least 3 different USVs hit. And the last one, you can actually see it going inside the ship before it explodes. Like you can see from its camera that like there's a massive hole in the side of the ship and it's going in there. So it wasn't good for the Kotov. Definitely wasn't going to do very well after that. I didn't see, and I apologize, I've had a very busy day, so I haven't seen any video of it actually sinking, which is different than what we've seen with at least the last attack and maybe the one before that. But I don't know, we might see more of that later. And if anybody has seen that, feel free to tag me in it. I would love to take a look at it. But it does look like the Sergei Kotov has sunk. That would be the 3rd time, if I remember correctly, that particular ship was attacked by USVs, and they have been successful. It is, as I said, it's not north of the Kerch Bridge, which is more expected. There were reports this morning that it was north of the Kerch Bridge, which would have meant that the USVs would have needed to go through the defenses at the Kerch Bridge in order to attack it. And it's not that that's 100% unlikely, but it's not as likely as this ship being struck south of the Kerch Bridge. So this location makes a lot more sense to what we're seeing. Where it sunk, it's unlikely that it will affect shipping lanes all that much. There is kind of an anchorage area where ships hold before they go through the Kerch Bridge. The Kerch Bridge was shut down for quite some time into the early mornings in Russia. And then, yeah, see this one? There's a very big hole there. You're looking inside it. Anyways, the Kerch Bridge was shut down for quite some time, but it doesn't appear... So great. You distracted me with this. It's awesome.
Yeah. So this is the slow-mo of the inside. You're not supposed to see the inside from the outside, typically, right?
Generally, I think that's usually like a really bad sign for a ship. Like when that happens, it's usually the worst sign for a ship. Yeah, it's so great. Really, really great. So needless to say, there was a number of strikes, very effective strikes by the looks of it, on the Kotov. It appears to have sunk. there was reports that they had actually shut down some of the internet around Crimea kind of during that time period. I'm not sure exactly why that was, if they were trying to control the story. It's interesting that we've really only seen one point of view video from like somebody external videoing it, not related to the USVs, from a different ship. That in such a busy area, I actually would have expected more video like this one. So it's kind of really interesting that that's the only one that we've seen come out so far. Makes me wonder if Russia is trying to control that narrative and maybe had some words with some people around that area and asked them to surrender their phones or other such things. I don't know. That is 100% speculation on my part, but it's just very interesting to me that there's really only one video from all of those other ships that would have been sitting in that area. And like, to be clear, that whole area there's usually like between 50 and 100 ships just waiting to go through the Kerch Strait, sitting around there. So there's no reason that there shouldn't have been other people watching this happen.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the gunfire.
Oh yeah.
You'd be like, well, what's all that about?
Big booms, gunfire. I doubt that they hit like all at the same time. There was probably at least a few minutes delay in between when the first one hit and when the last one hit. So you would expect there to be other people who pulled out their phone and were like, oh my goodness, what's happening? The fact that we haven't seen more video is a little bit interesting to me, for sure.
Yeah, unless they were the smart type of person that takes cover, you know? But usually those are not common. Usually people film.
Yeah, that doesn't appear to be a consistent vibe that we see from, I guess we only see it's kind of like FPV drone videos. We only see the videos from the people who don't take cover and then release them. So I suppose there might be other people that take cover. You never know. We just wouldn't see their video.
Yeah, so the question that we have is, did they use the new drones with the bigger warheads?
So they used the Magura 5s, which is especially interesting because Ukraine Pravda, I don't know if I'm saying that name properly, but anyways, they put out a long form interview yesterday with Budanov, talking about the Magura 5s and the development of the Magura 5s, and testing of them, and just a really long, quite detailed, more detailed than I would expect from them, interview with Budanov and with the other Ukraine intelligence folks who are in charge of that program, and talked about the successes they've had in the last couple of weeks. They also put out, I think it was 4 days ago, they put out kind of a greatest hits compilation video of the last 4 ships that they've sunk with those Magura 5s. So they are definitely on the watch what we can do. We are effective at this, and we will continue to do more campaign stage right now. What was also interesting was that when they announced that the Kotov had sunk, they specifically named the Ukrainian Navy, which they've often talked about working with the Navy, but they also specifically named the Ministry of Digital Transformation, which is Mikhailo Fedorov's group. They have been quite instructive in kind of the creation of different drone programs throughout this entire full-scale invasion. And they were kind of the first group who got the Starlink access set up and going, and has negotiated quite effectively with Elon Musk throughout this entire thing. So it was interesting that specifically they were named today in this attack. That is new and has never happened before. So there's all kinds of really interesting things that happened out of this, that if you watch it fairly closely, you haven't seen these particular pieces happen before.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was another drone-related event tonight that worries me a lot. And it is this wide-scale Shahed attack. I don't know how big it is, but the number of drones doesn't really matter to me. It's how widespread it is, because they seem to hit like all over Ukraine. They had, drones in kind of the middle. They had drones in the north. So it seems that this was kind of a probing attack for Ukrainian air defense. And they typically do these sorts of attacks before a major missile strike. And we know that there has not been a major missile strike in quite a while. We also know that they moved their planes into position for a missile strike like last week or something. I can't remember what day it was. But they're all in position to do a strike. And yeah, it just this sort of Shahed attack tonight. We usually see at least one of these before a strike. Sometimes 2 or 3 or 5 before a strike. And the night of a strike, they seem to do one of these as well, but it's slightly different. So what they seem to do is that they send a bunch of Shaheds on courses, and these courses, like each night is like roughly the same course. And then one night they'll do a totally different course, and that's the night they send the missiles in. That's kind of their pattern. So when I see this Shahed attack tonight, it makes me think there might be like another one tomorrow, and then there might be a missile strike after it, or there might be, another one of these the next day. Like it's not necessarily predictive of the exact day there'll be a missile strike, but it's all signs point towards major missile strike in the near future.
Well, and if I remember correctly, I think this is the third day in the row that Odessa has been targeted by Shahed attacks.
Yeah.
Like they have been very consistent and doing daytime attacks for 3 days straight. And people are saying that the retaliation for the boat, I don't think it's a retaliation yet. Usually those take some time to set up. This has been consistent for like 72 hours, basically.
Yeah, they've also been shooting anti-radiation missiles along with the Shaheds. And yeah, the anti-radiation missiles, from what I understand, hit in the southern part of Odessa, like around here. I have no clue where, but it was like between Odessa and like Ismail, so it was like somewhere in between. Yeah, and then there's this other person. There is no evidence at all that Ukraine lost 3 HIMARS today. They're like, there's the one HIMARS exploded, but the other 2 were like, come on, dude. Like, just come on, dude. It's like a random shape of formless vehicle drives into a forest and then catches on fire. Oh, it's a HIMARS. Like, Jesus. Yeah, but yeah, they definitely blew up one HIMARS, but like, there's like no evidence of a second one, let alone a third. Yes. So yeah, they've been shooting anti-radiation missiles. They've been shooting Shaheds towards Odessa. Interestingly, they've been hitting the kind of the northern part of Odessa. And pretty far inland too. So like not shooting the coast, but like shooting inland. There've also been a bunch of mines recently. Was there like a storm? Was I don't remember there being a story. I remember calm seas. And there's like all these mines washing up on shore right now.
Yeah, it's been mostly calm seas for like the last more than well, I think about 10 days. There was a little like tiny storm, but nothing major. So I'm not really sure. I mean, mines can float for quite some time, and sea directions have changed a lot recently. So it could be that they may have been floating somewhere else and now they just happen to be brought back up towards Odessa and like down that way. It's I'm not entirely sure, to be totally honest. Before we move on, can I just say that the people who did the geolocation for the ship was Demo Juventus and Ben Patet, who it goes by Koopshire, and Mark Cromack, and somebody else whose name I don't remember, LOL Mania, and they did a really detailed thread, and I just want to like shout them out because they did such great work doing that and explaining their whole thought process behind it, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, it was a good job. Man, this guy is like really thinks that Russia blew up 3 HIMARS. Okay, so here's the funniest part. In their footage where they claim to blow up 2 HIMARS, there's only one truck. There's only one truck in the footage. So why would there be two? If anything, it would be one, but no, it's not even one. But Jesus, like man, people are so gullible. Anyways, yeah. What's the next topic? I can't remember. Is there any other boat news you'd like to talk about?
Have you streamed since the spit incident with the lighthouse? It's been my days are total.
Yeah. We talked about it on Friday. Well, Gik did.
Okay.
Gik talked about it. Oh, I did that thing. I need to not do that.
Oh, yeah. Don't do that.
Okay.
Make that go away. That's the most recent one I can think of. Oh, no, there is something else. That's just something we don't know what it means. And I haven't really reported on it specifically, but I'll mention it here. We've long known that there are a number of ships taking Ukrainian grain from Russian-held Ukrainian ports and shipping them to Syria and other places. And we have long known that there is equipment coming back from Syria, as well as equipment going to Syria, as well as jet fuel going to Syria on Russian quote unquote civilian ships. There was a report very, very, very early this morning that Turkey has shut down the Turkish straits to those ships. I don't know that that's true. Nobody in Turkey thinks that that is true, or at least they have seen no evidence of it. The grain ships are definitely still going through the Bosphorus Straits. So we know for sure that that's not stopping them. However, there are 3 ships that typically leave Syria and then come back into the Black Sea and go to Novo or Sevastopol or any of the ports along that coastal area. They are now headed to St. Petersburg instead, which could just be because somebody in the Black Sea Fleet, namely mainly the new commander, maybe decided that, hey, maybe we should stop sailing through here because we keep getting attacked by USVs. Or it could be that maybe because Turkey has stopped accepting financial transactions from Russian banks, maybe for some reason they can't pay their pilot fees to get through there. Whatever the case is, it seems that those ships are redirecting and not coming back into the Black Sea. And instead, they're going all the way north, back up to St. Petersburg from Syria. Again, I don't know what it means. I don't know why it's happening. It's something to keep an eye on, and maybe we'll figure that out. But what exactly is happening there, I think, is very unclear at the moment.
Yeah. That's interesting. The long trip they had there. They're like, oh man, we're almost to port. Oh, never mind, let's go all the way around.
Yeah, that's a really, like, that extends your trip by more than a week. Whereas before, the trip between like Sevastopol and Tartus, Syria, is like a 3, 4, or 5 day trip, depending on weather and like transit times and stuff. So it's definitely an interesting change.
Yeah. Yep, that's all interesting. I kind of wish we had like an economist segment to every video, because there's like a lot of weird economy stuff going on in Russia right now. But I can't talk about it because I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to get into it. But there is interesting stuff. I wish we had a person for that. But anyways, so there's been a lot of action around Avdiivka, and some unfortunate things going on. The unfortunate things being longer range, well, not really longer range, but Russia hitting deeper behind the Avdiivka line, especially with airstrikes. So they have these cluster shellings. It's hard to see in these images, but you can sort of see them. They've also had they're basically hitting all of these all the towns here with airstrikes on a fairly regular basis. Not necessarily every day, but at least like a few times a week for like all of these towns. And all the areas between the towns too. So they're hitting a lot of these areas with airstrikes. They're reaching further out with shelling and hitting, deeper targets with shelling. And the Russians are just generally projecting their firepower deeper out from Avdiivka than we have been seeing over the past like year, I guess, where they were focusing more on areas closer to Avdiivka. Yeah, that's all been unfortunate. Ukraine has lost a number of artillery pieces in the process, and now a HIMARS was destroyed in this general area further back. But yeah, this is kind of one of the more disturbing developments, is the increased rate at which Russia is hitting further behind the lines, especially with air power. At the same time, they're also hitting the front with air power. They're just making more use of air power all around.
So what you're telling me is that planes aren't a lot afraid to be up there doing things?
Yeah, they're bombing a lot.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there people have been saying like, "Oh, well, we shot down like 7 planes today." Like, okay. Anyway, so that's one thing to keep in mind, is this increased air power. The other thing is that Russia has been using a lot of golf carts. Like a lot of golf carts. Like, here's a golf cart, and here's a golf cart. There's a lot of golf carts doing a lot of assaults here. It's interesting. We've been hearing we were hearing about the use of these golf carts before we started seeing video of it. So it was like a good few days before we actually saw any video of these golf carts. Well, in these assaults, in this role, because we had been seeing them do other things, like they were being used to resupply the more rear areas. They had been used for like medical evacuations in some cases, and things like that. But this is a different role entirely. This is like assault golf cart, which is bizarre. You could argue that they're troop rotations, but they're troop rotations to the front line. So it's weird. It's not the vehicle I go with personally, but that it's the vehicle they're going with. So um,
So just when you say a golf cart, I presume it doesn't really have like bulletproof sides on it per se.
it doesn't have any doors. It doesn't have sides.
Hmm.
Let
That
me,
seems like a poor choice.
let me get a picture. It's a Desert Cross 1000-3. It's made by China. Um, the windscreen is optional. Uh, I'll have you know. They cost $19,000 in case you want to buy one.
That's actually a decent price.
Yeah. So this is a picture from their website, and this is more or less what it is. It's a combat golf cart. Hi, Constantine.
Hello, Andrew. Hello, Exit.
I just realized I'm not showing the picture. Here you go. Combat golf cart.
How's the stream going? Sorry, I got disconnected for a second.
It's going well. We're talking about golf carts. Yeah. So yeah, I did not realize these were only $18,000 or $19,000. Well, okay. You can have it for a deal. It's $18,999. You get a
How many
dollar off.
gold
So
cars have you identified so far?
Hey, gold bars.
How many golf cars?
Oh, golf carts? It's a good question. It's good. Let me look. I'm gonna look at my vehicle stats. Um, it's actually been more than you think. 27.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the one advantage to these would be that they are more maneuverable and maybe move a little faster than some of the other vehicles that we see out there. Is that true?
I mean, I have not tested it personally. I don't buy it personally. I don't buy that this would be more maneuverable than other things. But maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I can tell you that they are very good for going around in very fast circles in very deep snow while pulling a tire behind you that kids are flopping around on.
Okay.
Like if you want to go sledding, they're great. And they are quite maneuverable and quite fast.
Okay,
This
sorry.
is an ATV. This is not exactly the golf car, but still.
Yeah, it looks like a golf cart to me, buddy. But okay, so we have 27 of them so far, not counting today. I'm not counting today. Today there are more, but there are 27, not counting today, and 14 of them were destroyed and 2 were abandoned. Today, let's see how many were today. Oh, there's only one more today, so there's one more damage today. So it's 28 total. I know they bought 1,000, so there you go. I know a few of these golf carts were destroyed by Baba Yagas.
Well, I have to say that this is really good equipment for for utilities, not of course for
Not for
frontline, but
assaulting.
yeah, they're really good for everything that you need to do on the back line, like in the rear. They're really good for it.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they're being used for. Well, fortunately, they've been used to directly assault positions. Like this is one right here. Like, look at the location. It's like it's the front line. Like, it's Russia actively assaulting with a golf cart. Anyways,
That's not a place I would drive one of those.
no, it'd be very stupid. Oh, but if you look at all of these locations of these Ukrainian drone markers, I don't know why that didn't load. Okay. These Ukrainian drone markers, these are all where Russia is actively attacking. So, parts of Orlivka, I don't think they have any sort of claim to this part of Orlivka, but they have had infantry there. They've had infantry moving up to Orlivka following this sort of path. They seem to be just walking over here, walking the entire way. Apparently, they ran out of golf carts. They drove on golf carts the first time and got wiped out, and all the rest are walking. So yeah, that's more or less the extent. You can kind of see the path they're taking as it move the drones.
I honestly, I don't think that the golf car is much worse than the BMP because they still
Okay.
ride on top of the BMP. You know, it's
Yeah.
still you're the meat armor. You are the dynamic protection.
You are the
so
meat armor.
I don't think there is much difference. You know, and with the ATV is cheaper, and you can have more of them. So
Yeah. These people, they're so obsessed with this second and third HIMARS. There was no second and third HIMARS. Oh man. Okay, let me get the video. I'm gonna show you guys the video and you can tell me, oh, that looks exactly like a HIMARS to me. Here it is. Okay. You really think this truck right here is a HIMARS? Like seriously? Look at it. It's not even lug. Like it honestly is not even a full-size truck. It looks kind of like a pickup truck with like a one of those covers in the back. That's what it looks like. It looks like a pickup truck with a cover in the back. It's not even as big as this truck, and that's a small truck too. It's a pickup truck. Maybe a van. And then oh look at this. There's a mysterious cut. This mysterious cut where and then magic happened. Oh, the magic happened, everybody. Oh, wouldn't you like to know what the magic? And then zoom into a random fire. Oh, there's your HIMARS. Constantine, are you convinced by this footage?
well, not this one.
Yeah. This
This
is what the people are. They're saying this is two HIMARS. They're saying this is proof, Constantine. This is two HIMARS.
Relax.
It's like Jesus. Look at it, man. It's absurd. People who fall for this are stupid.
If that was a fuel truck, that would explain why the fire was so large and spread out like that.
Yeah. Could be a fuel truck. There's a lot of things it could be. We don't know what it is. That's the point. But it's not a HIMARS. We know what a HIMARS looks like when it explodes because we saw one explode today. Anyways, Constantine, do you want to talk about your fundraiser? Your highly successful fundraiser?
Yeah, I'm hosting a fundraiser right now, and thank you once again for mentioning it. It's the same one that we discussed the last time here. So we're fundraising for the excavator, and a truck, and our initial goal was $62,000. And suddenly yesterday, everyone started retweeting my fundraiser. Thanks to Andrew and thanks for others who did this. And we suddenly went to $62,000. We went to $72,000 in 23 hours. And then I said, okay, we have $10,000 over the goal. How we should use the money. And I decided let's try to get a second excavator, a smaller one. That costs around $25,000, but let's get it. So I increased the fundraiser by another $25,000, and the goal is now 87,000, as you can see. And we are almost there. We just like in $4,500, a bit less, $4,300. And I think we're gonna reach it tomorrow probably. And it's super. I would say that it's very important fundraiser because digging in is super important. And I don't know, not gonna point fingers, but it was not done, and now we lack the equipment, and it's the good I would say investment, one of the best investments for the buck if you want to have effect on the war, and if you want to help. I would say this is just as effective, and probably as effective as getting the drones, because excavators, they help you dig in, they help build fortifications, and those fortifications, they save lives. You can build them really deep. You can build place enough concrete on top of you, enough logs on top of you, and this will allow withstand up to 155 millimeter rounds, which is the most that Russia has in their conventional war. Of course, it cannot withstand direct hit from the glide bomb or anything like that, but it's a very, very substantial help to our forces. So please, if you're interested, you can still donate. $4,500 left, and you can join. Thank you, Andrew, for mentioning.
Yep. I was really surprised that it went that fast. Man, it's pretty impressive. There were some big name people retweeting it, like
Yeah.
Rob Lee, for example.
Like you, but Rob Lee did thank him for retweeting. He did it at 10:30 p.m. So didn't have too much impact, but still it helped bring a lot of funds. Also, Dmitry from War Translated has retweeted, helped a lot as well. Special Harrison Cat helped. And yeah, it's like we reached the goal, and we got past it. So super stoked, super happy. And we right now, our team on the ground is looking for the right excavator, because we have the money now. And we're gonna find it, and we're gonna deliver it in next 2 weeks. We're gonna deliver the first one. The second one is probably gonna be a bit later, because there is right now we're facing a dilemma where to buy it. Inside Ukraine, it costs more, but it's available. But outside, you can actually get it a bit cheaper. My good friend is delivering them from Japan. Japan takes a lot of time, but they're so much cheaper there. So for one of those excavators, we're considering maybe we should buy, more of them in Japan instead of just one. We can buy actually even two or even three of them. So we'll make a decision a bit later when the fundraiser is over. And yeah, that's what we're thinking about right now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm really happy. I hope it builds lots of defenses.
Yeah, and I uploaded new video today with like the path of the excavator, like how we bought it, how we repaired it, how we delivered it, and how it's working. And yeah, you can check out my Twitter page. It has this one. You can see how much effort was put into fixing it in this video. Over there, we literally overhauled it completely. We changed the crankshaft. We changed all the pistons. We did the repairs of the. This is the hydraulic system. It was all repaired and tested, and then we spent it worked I think 30 hours on the backyard of the guy that was supplying it, just to make sure that everything is tested and everything is working. And we put a lot of effort into it, yeah, and then we deliver it, and then it right now it's digging the trenches around Avdiivka with the 59th motorized brigade. Yeah, this is it. So thanks again for reminding.
Yep. The little guy can dig. So we have a question. How many of the planes do you think were actually shot down? Personally, I think 4 planes were shot down. I think well, recently anyway. I'm just talking about the recent ones. So there were the 2 A-50s. Those were shot down. I don't know who shot them down, but someone did. And then there were 2 other planes that were shot down. One, I believe, landed in the ocean, I think, and the other landed on land. And the one that landed on land, we have an image of the pilot with his parachute, right? So I'm pretty sure that one was shot down. So I think 4 planes were shot down. And I don't know who shot down any of them or what weapons were used, but I think 4 were shot down. And I know they claim to shot down like 15, or I lost count, but I think only 4 of them are real. And I think only 1 or 2 of them were Su-34. I can't remember which one's which at this point. It's been let me look. I have it in my spreadsheet. I don't have it in my brain, but I have it in my spreadsheet. Give me a second. I'll filter by airplane. Constantine, why do you have an idea for why they keep saying they shoot down planes?
I have no idea. I honestly I don't understand, but sometimes I think that there was an order from the president office to do so, But we need good news, so they started, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have good news." So he was like, "Make up the good news." I don't care. So I'm not sure. It's my wild theory, but I don't understand. So I don't know honestly.
Yeah. So we have evidence of. Okay, so we have evidence of 2 Su-34s, a Su-35S, and the 2 A-50s. That's what we have evidence for. And all the rest are probably BS. So that'd be 5 planes. 5 planes total. Which is a lot. And we have no clue who shot down the planes, to be honest. We just know that they were shot down. Yeah, they might all be friendly fire for all I know.
Well, friendly fire still damage.
It does. Anyways, I'll get back to news. So, a guy that I trust very, very much, he told me yesterday morning that Russia had advanced around 100 meters in Pervomaiska, and that the fields north of the town were pretty much entirely in Russian control. So I changed my map to represent that. And I know this map change made a lot of the Russians very happy, and they all copied it. So, anyways, but yeah, he said it was about 100 meters. I think I drew like 150 meters, but he said it was they moved. He said they advanced like 100 meters one day, and maybe 100 meters the next day. So I drew it as like 150 meters. Getting down to the exact house in meter is kind of a pointless exercise, so it doesn't totally matter. But I I just wanted to explain this little map change. It came from a guy who I know is in the brigade that is fighting here. Um, so yeah, I don't have any particular map changes of late that immediately come to mind that were interesting to me. There was this small change, um, kind of near Verkno-Kamyanska, but this isn't super important. It's just a kind of a little clarification. And there's some evidence today that Russia advanced towards Terni. But all the people, I couldn't find visual evidence. I didn't find any visual evidence of it. And all the people saying that Russia did are like hardcore doomers. They're like the most hardcore doomers. So I always take everything they say with a grain of salt. But if they are right, we could see in the near future Russia advancing here. Yesterday, I think, yeah, yesterday, um, we, or 2 days ago, I guess. Anyway, we had evidence of an abandoned, I never know how to say this. What was it called? Stritzwagen? Stritzwagen 122. Anyway, this is
Oh, the leopard,
yeah,
the Swedish leopard.
it's the Swedish Leopard 2A5 basically. In my opinion, this is one of the best tanks that Ukraine has. This and the 2A6 are, I think, the two best tanks that Ukraine has. But this is abandoned. You can see all the hatches are open. This drone attacked it. The drone completely missed. The drone did no damage to the tank, but the tank is abandoned, and that is very unfortunate. It's right here. They've lost a lot of tanks in this general area. I think they lost like one here, and they lost like one there, and one here now, and I think they lost one over here somewhere. I can't remember where. I think it was like right here. I think it's on this road, I think. But they've lost a whole bunch of tanks in this area, and these are all their best tanks, and it I really hate seeing it personally. It just makes me sad. But what can you do? And trying to think of other important news lately. There have been attacks in Sinkivka, pretty continuous assaults to no advance that we've been able to identify. There's been some fighting in kind of this kind of northern part of the town that Russia appears to just kind of roam into every once in a while. Like they push up and they get destroyed and run away again. They do the same sort of thing in this area of the forest where they try to move up this this road, or sometimes they try to move from east to west to get to the road on over more on this side, and it always fails. It's actually remarkable how many vehicles they've lost in this little area. Uh, yeah, Konstantin, do you have anything you'd like to say about Bakhmut? Because I know the situation there is quite bad.
Yeah, so Ivanivska, like it's such a terrible situation there. The issue is that all the roads to it are under constant fire. Resupplying it is immensely complicated, and the problem is that because our forces in the south, they cannot just give it up. Like they just cannot leave. I think because if they do, the Klishivka is going to be, this part is going to become under, it will be in the much worse state than it was before. But I do think that Ukraine has to build the defenses along, like really, really fast, build the defenses across the canal, which goes through near the Chasiv Yar, and just retreat behind it. It's like the only way we can, we can keep our losses at minimum, because sending our troops into Ivanivsk is like it's a death trap. It's bad, and I think bad decisions were made in not to build the fortifications along the canal. And I hope they're trying to fix them right now. And as soon as those fortifications are ready, we should just pull back.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts here. And I know how dire the situation is from the guys who are defending it. They're not happy, absolutely not happy. And like they say it's hell because the resupplies are you cannot get in and you cannot get out.
Yeah, so basically what happened is that Ukraine had a bunch of they consider themselves elite. I don't know if you would call them elite, but they considered themselves elite, and they were holding this ridge line up here, to the north of Ivanivska. They were repeatedly assaulted by the Russians, and from what I understand, the Russians were hitting them with their elite. They're like paratroopers or VDV, whatever you want to call them. So they were getting hit. So this was like a major battle. Like it kind of went under the radar a little bit. I think everyone kind of knew it was happening, but it didn't. I don't think it got as much press as it deserved for how important it was. And ultimately, Ukraine lost all of these positions and had to retreat. And when they retreated, they had no line to fall back to. So, like, when they lost like this forest, like they couldn't fall back to like here, or anywhere even remotely close. They had to fall back like really far, like over a kilometer, to like all the way back here. So when that happened and they lost this whole ridge line up here, it meant that Russia took control over the hill, and this hill directly overlooks basically the only road in the Ivanivska. And when that happened, it just turned into a train wreck. Like the situation's really bad. I'm gonna look at it in 3D. I'll go there and I'll show you what I mean by this ridge line. Why this ridge line was important. It's really obvious why it was important when you look at it. So this is the ridge line. You can see that the Russians had to fight uphill, and they did. They fought uphill. They got into this forest eventually. It took them a while, but they got into the forest, and they eventually squeezed all of the Ukrainians out of this forest. And once they were up here, they got more or less control over this hill here that overlooks the only road in the town. So that was bad. And when Ukraine lost these positions, you can see that like this ridge isn't necessarily the top of the hill. Like Ukraine probably could have defended this hill more if they had like a trench system here, or some sort of defenses, but there weren't any, so they had to fall back. I don't think they could even fall back to this tree line. I think they had to fall back to that one. So not great. And now that the Russians can control this hill, now we don't know how much they control it. I think their control is fleeting, which is why I have it as a gray area. But they can get forces here. And more importantly, there are no Ukrainian forces there. So how do you resupply a town that has one road in, given this terrain? That's like it's a really bad situation. So you can go through that forest over there, but that forest is also under fire control.
I also want to know that this is 300 x, like 300% increase elevation.
Yes, it is 300%. Yeah, too exaggerated.
Yeah, so it looks a bit exaggerated.
It's exaggerated. It's just the exaggeration helps you see what's going on. Because otherwise, it's really hard to.
You can set it to 100. and to 1, not 3, and it would like show you how it really looks. Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
This is 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see it's a bit better, but still it's
not, yeah.
a hill that looks on top of the village.
Yeah, the 300 I think just makes it easier to see. Because at the scale, like if when you make everything the correct scale, you kind of lose the perspective, I think. Like when in real life things are just bigger, you know? Like everything's just bigger. But anyways, that's kind of the situation here. And when Ukraine lost this ridge, you heard a lot of doom. That was when like everyone was like, we lost Chasiv Yar. Like we lost the ridge, that means we lost the everything. The whole line broke, like blah, blah, blah. A lot of doom came out of that. Anyway. What else is there to say? Oops. Okay, so next topic. We have a question for you, Konstantin. Near Ivanivska, there was a crew. I don't know if they're artillery or mortars, but they were headed by Lieutenant Witch. Do you know about those people?
Oh, the girl?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't want to even comment on this. So I'll just, even if I knew, I would say no. So
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
This is quite sensitive topic for many people. So I would suggest, just staying away. If you want to stay away from the drama.
I honestly know nothing about it. Apparently, I completely missed that story. I honestly have no clue. Anyway, doesn't matter. So what other story is there today? I guess the only other thing to talk about is the Berdichi and Stepova area. So Russia's been doing lots and lots of their attacks towards Berdichi and Stepova, or well, towards Berdichi from Stepova. So they've been trying to push down this road where they've been taking just massive casualties in terms of infantry and in terms of vehicles. They've lost a ton of BTR 80s and BTR 82As, mostly those vehicles, but also tanks. They've lost a T-72 B3M. I believe they also lost I think, yeah, they lost a T-80 BVM. So yeah, they've lost a whole bunch of vehicles in this area, along with a whole bunch of infantry. We've had a bunch of videos that were really interesting of Bradley engagements, and we've also had vehicle, a Bradley damaged and abandoned. We had an Abrams damaged and abandoned. This is the third Abrams, I believe. And yeah, it's just it's lost 3 Abrams in this town. It's not ideal. Not ideal. But what can you do? And they've also lost 2 of these breaching vehicles. I actually don't know how to pronounce this. Is it M1150? Is that whatever? But anyways, today they did another large assault towards Berdichi. This time more in the northern part of the town, and it went badly. It went badly. So It seems that this whole northern part of the line is stabilizing. Verdici appears to be a relatively stable area as long as you don't drive an Abrams into the eastern part of town. Um, Orlivka seems to be stabilizing. It's still bad. The situation is still very bad around Orlivka, but it's not as bad as it was a few days ago. Um, Tonenka is just getting shelled a lot. The situation in Tonenka is also very bad. It's probably worse than Orlivka, but Russia hasn't been able to take the center of the town. They have entered the south or the southeastern part of the town, and from what I can tell from drone footage, is that they control kind of these houses just in the bottom corner, but they haven't been able to capture anything in the middle, and they are pressing from the north. And you can see yesterday the drone attacks yesterday. You see that they're kind of moving in this line from Avdiivka all the way all the way across all of these fields and trying to attack the northern part of Tonenka and also the southern part of Orlivka. But it all seems to be stabilizing, and it appears to me anyway that the reason it's stabilizing is that Ukraine has brought in a ton of reinforcements and a lot of like their reserves, whatever reserves they had left, I guess. And at the same time, Russia is attacking almost entirely with infantry. It's like infantry, airplanes, and artillery
And golf carts.
and golf carts. Yeah, I get the I get the sense that Russia is trying to build up an armored group to make an attempt into Tonenka. That's the impression I get. That they're sending their infantry out to see what happens while building up some armored force, and I think they're probably going to do a big push. And I think a lot will hinge on if that happens. I think a lot will hinge on the success of the attack, because if Ukraine can survive that armored push, this whole situation could stabilize, which I hope for. I don't think it will happen though, but I hope for it. Um, and in Novomikhailivka, um, Russia has entered the center of town, and Ukraine, from what I've heard, Ukraine has been slowly withdrawing from the center of town, moving more towards the western part of town and the northern outskirts. And this whole middle part, from what I've heard, is difficult to go into. Like it's dangerous for both sides. We've heard a lot recently of Russians claiming that they've taken the entire eastern part of the town. I've not seen actual evidence of this. And from all the people I've heard talking about this town, it seems unlikely that they have, due to just the status of the town. Like every house is gone. Every building is gone. And I've heard even a lot of the basements are gone. So it's just hard to control this eastern part of town. This town was bombed, dozens of bombs a day, like dozens per day, for like 3, 4, 5 months straight. It's completely destroyed, especially this eastern part. The western part was not bombed as much. Now the western part's getting bombed because it's getting bombed many times per day now. So the western part it might even be as bad as the eastern part now, but the western part wasn't bombed initially. It was all the eastern part, and we've seen Russia do this a number of times, where they use so much firepower to destroy defensive positions in an area that once they try to take it, they have nowhere to go. We've seen this happen in a lot of places. Like, well, first in Marinka, that was an issue for a long time until Ukraine got squeezed out. In Pervomaiska, this is another issue here too, because all of these houses are gone, especially these houses here on this part of the street. These are all completely reduced to nothing. A lot of the basements are even gone, just from being continuously shelled and bombed for a year and a half. So Russia did at one point push all the way up to around here, or they're pushed up to this pond almost, and Ukraine pushed them back, and it's all been this like empty gray area ever since. It's hard for anyone to survive in this middle ground because there's nothing there. We have a question. Konstantin, maybe you have an opinion on this. Who do you think will go to the land of the pink ponies next?
What the hell does this mean?
You don't remember the land of the pink ponies?
No. What is it?
It's what Igor called the Russian propaganda that invents, the whole fake universe that where Russia is constantly perfect. He called that the land of the pink ponies.
So that's like when they destroy equipment that does not exist.
Yeah, that's a land of the pink ponies thing. Yeah. When they say that Ukraine has 500,000 casualties, or that Russia only has 5,000 KIA. That's another land of the pink ponies comment. But yeah, which mill blogger do you think is going to get got?
Which blogger is gonna go to prison?
Yeah, or fall out a window or anything. Who do you think's next on the chopping block?
I think they will take a pause right now. I honestly do.
Okay.
I think they things for them are actually not that bad at the moment. So probably they think that okay, let's
They'll close all the
ease
windows.
our grip on the informational space.
they'll close the windows. They'll put away the
Yeah,
tea.
they close the window.
They'll start drinking coffee instead of tea. Yeah. They'll drive instead of take an airplane.
I have to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, those two HIMARS are in the land of the pink ponies. You're right.
That's very funny. I was wondering if we could look at the road accident in Novomykolaiv.
Oh, you want to see the road accident? It's
I
pretty
do.
funny. Did Gik tell you to say that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because I know he loves the road accident. Where am I? I'm lost. Okay. Oh, because I was on the wrong day. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Let's get the road accident. I have to be very careful with this video, but I will try to get the road accident.
Oh, he thought it was clean.
Part of it is clean,
Maybe.
and then it gets not. It gets not at one point.
I hear you.
Okay. So this is their little attack, right? So, they're all moving up. Everything's great. This is a land of the pink ponies sort of thing, right? So, Russia's on top of the world. What could go wrong? You can see that. I'll even describe this a little bit more. So this front tank, I believe, is a T-72B3 mod 18 or 1989. This is like the original T-72B3. This is a modified MTLB with the back chopped off so you can stand up while you get driven to your slaughter. And this is another one of the same thing. And this here is a T-62 MV. So this is their quote brand new T-62. And this is another MTLB. See, MTLB, MTLB, T-62, MTLB. Okay.
Unlike golf balls, you can actually stand up and not fall out.
This is definitely an accident. Yeah. See, I'll go back and watch it again.
We should back up.
See what happened is that the tank in the front got engaged. Notice how notice oh boy, I hate when it does that. Okay. Notice how there's another like destroyed tank over there? That's from like another timeline. Okay. That's from another timeline. But this is a this tank, he rolled up to here, he got engaged and slammed on the brakes and started reversing. And all the other vehicles were like, I guess we're going backwards now. So he's like, we're going backwards now. But he's like, no, I want to go backwards. Also note, now he's suddenly now in a crater that didn't exist a moment ago because he hit a mine and exploded. Okay, so he's in a crater all of a sudden. These guys are bumping into each other, and the T-62 is just being a T-62, and the guy in the back is chilling and getting ready to ram. So notice how his door broke off. Infantry are abandoning ship. They have note how they have pre-made
Are you
sandbags.
sure you can show this?
Why?
Huh?
Why?
You sure you can show this on YouTube? I thought you were saying that you
Nothing
can't.
is bad so far. It does get bad at one point. I'm gonna turn it off then. But anyway, they've some pre-made sandbags. Everything's going wrong. And yeah, I think I do have to stop it now.
Did the T-62 fire at the MTLB?
We'll fire it over it.
Oh, okay. Because the MTLB looked like it kind of exploded at the same time as the T-62 fired.
None of the MTLBs at this point have exploded, but I will give you a spoiler. Multiple of them did eventually explode. This part is interesting, and I think I can show this part. This part is interesting because they took all of their pre-made. Notice that the T-62 exploded, but they took all their pre-made sandbags, and they're making a little sandbag fort. I thought that was clever. Yeah.
So they can build a position like wherever
Yeah,
they drop.
they decided since this tank already exploded, it can't explode a second time, right? So what we're gonna do is they took out their shovels, they dug a little hole behind the tank, and then built like a sandbag fort on top of their hole. So that's their little sandbag fort. Oh boy, I'll stop now. Yeah, so it'll show a little bit of aftermath. There's no people aftermath, it's just vehicle aftermath. Okay, so the vehicle, he hit a mine, etc. So they all exploded. Long story short, all the vehicles exploded. You can also see, I'm just going to take a screenshot because I'm afraid to actually show the video at this point. Our dude here is He's digging a hole under the tank. That's his house now.
We've seen that happen like a lot lately, in lots of different videos, but then invariably an FPV finds them.
Yep.
And that tank doesn't look like it's exploded yet.
No, this tank has not exploded.
That looks like a bad tank to build under.
Well, you gotta build your house somewhere. Yeah. This soil looks very diggable. They're lucky this is very diggable soil.
Really does. Like if I had to dig a hole, that is good soil to dig in.
Yeah. So this is an assault that went on south of Novomikhailivka. So yeah, so one of the MTLBs blew up there. And this is where they had their little traffic accident. And there's a completely unknown vehicle off in the background right there. So yeah, that's that. So some of the vehicles were destroyed here, one was destroyed there, and that's kind of the story of here. This is what Gik wanted you to know. He wanted you to see the fender bender.
He knows me well. I appreciated that. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a very large crater, but to be fair, if you see how easily those people are digging, the soil just might be very soft and easy to blow away, you know? Because don't forget that soil conditions play a big role in crater formation. So that soil seems rather ideal. What else is there to say? Gika's gonna be mad at me because I probably missed something. I'm just trying to cover the interesting parts. Interesting to me. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. There were a few other stories that I think are funny, but I can't talk about on YouTube. Because why did he climb the ladder? I still don't get it. How many troops? How many troops?
He tried to place the flag.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. How many troops do you think are on the Belarus border?
Whose troops? Russian troops?
Both.
Probably 100,000 from both total from the both sides.
It's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Just on Belarus. I guess it is a big place.
Yeah, it's a large front line actually.
Yeah, it's really big. And Russia does like continuously try to break through it, not with like forces, but with what would you call it? Saboteurs. I don't know what word to use. A DRG. I don't know. What would you call it? Anyway, they constantly try to break through with people, and they get caught occasionally. I don't know how often, but they do get caught. I know one of them was tried and sentenced to prison. Yep. Anyways, that's kind of all I have to talk about today. I can't think of anything else to talk about. Yeah, the BTRs and MTLBs have thin armor. It's not no armor though. They do have armor. It's just thin. What would it be like? 10 to 15 millimeters, something like that, on an MTLB. I don't know how much a BTR has. Is it more? Would it be like 15 to 20 maybe? It's not that much, but It can stop a bullet.
Once again, what can the BTR stop?
They can stop a bullet. Especially the frontal armor is better than the side armor. I think the front can even stop a 50 cal, I think. I don't think the sides can. Yep. So I think that's all I have to talk about for today. We'll be back on Friday. All right. So thanks for coming, everybody. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you for coming, Neil. Thank you for your support.
Yes. I'm glad you're going to get some excavators. And I hope they could put them to good use and dig a whole bunch of holes in the ground.
Will do, Captain.
And maybe the soil will be like those guys, and you could dig really fast. All right. See you later. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.